Happy International Day to you, Marcy, and to all the women that are watching your program. It's a pleasure to be with you and to celebrate and to observe how have I been coping. Generally, very good because I've got a very supportive system. My husband, I've got grown daughters now, teenagers. So typically the domestic part of my duties have reduced drastically because they assist me. And since my new portfolio just about 7 months ago, the interim CEO for the National Communications Network Incorporated, I've had adequate time to focus on the new duties that are required of me. So I'm grateful that I've been able to, I can invest all of my energy literally on trying to do what I'm expected to do to the best of my ability. But I would definitely say the supportive system that I've got at home, my husband and our children, help me to be as successful as I am endeavoring to be. At first, back March, April, May, around that time, we were working from home. Like you, Marcy, you were working at home on radio every day, so was I. That was a unique and an enriching moment at the same time. Having to work every day, everybody wants to work, be able to work from home, but then it was just consuming my life because I was listening to the radio more to make sure everything was how it is supposed to be. And then I was on radio during that time. It was the height of COVID, the national recount and the extended electoral cycle that we were in, and still keeping the nation up to date on important matters. And so at first it seemed like a walk in the park, a breeze, and then I think the burden of what was happening in our nation at that time started to really sink in. But I used to come out at least an hour and a half to 2 hours in my yard. My husband loves the plants, so he would tend to his plants. I would try to exercise. I invested in a watch that could count the number of steps I would go around and around my yard. I used to aspire to 5,000 steps. But I think there were moments when there were periods of desolation and frustration. But also really moments of grace, spending time with my children, my husband, paying attention to and having conversations with them, and not in a peripheral way, not just finding out how was your day, how were exams, because the big girl was writing CSEC exams at that time, but just listening to what they were saying, how they were coping. So I think the COVID period that was afforded to us had many moments of learning, of growth, and as the COVID deaths were climbing, and us as a family, when we encountered some COVID cases close to us as a family, I think that whole moment of mortality and the fact that it's no longer about whether you can contract COVID, but the fact that even if you did, it was so normal now because COVID, the statistics were just increasing, and it didn't matter that you were taking all of the precautions. Sometimes you could be doing all that you were doing, but for 5 minutes or less you interacted with someone who was not as careful. And so it was a combination of all of those things. But generally, I would say it was mixed emotions. They were as I said, moments of grace as well as moments of desolation, depression, and feeling like I just can't wait for this to be over. But we, certainly as a family, staying at home, tried not to get on each other's nerves, even though we clashed a bit because we were running out of ideas to be creative. Game nights we had, special meals being prepared by different members of the family. But all in all, I am so grateful. I think I really bonded with my children and my husband more than I've done in a while. On the occasion of International Women's Day, I would like to leave this simple but important message to you. You are important. You have value. There is dignity in what you're doing. Please know that we have the utmost respect for you, and that regardless of your challenges, regardless of your circumstances, there is so much of power, there is so much of beauty in you. Let us celebrate. Let us use today, International Women's Day, as a moment of reflection, and let us continue to lift each other, inspire, encourage. If there is someone out there that you think needs to hear this message from you, please reach out. Happy International Women's Day.
A young lady of immense talent is featured today as we continue to celebrate women. Her voice is easily recognized whenever and wherever, whether it is on the radio, television, or at a public event or forum. She is practically everywhere in terms of her efforts, work, and talent. Michella Abraham Ali, the young girl from Y.W.A.P village in the Rupununi, started out her life with her siblings after venturing to the capital city on a government scholarship. Little did she know that in the years to come, her talent would be nurtured and that she would have much more to contribute to life on this side of Guyana. One day, she responded to the call for auditions for radio announcers at the then Guyana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC's broadcasting house at High Street. For someone who was never even interested the least in radio or even listened to radio, passed through to all the rounds and rigors of the auditions. Out of over 300 people who gathered in the lobby of GBC, Michella Abraham Ali made it through and was selected along with 5 other persons to start out their careers in radio broadcasting. Over the years, she assumed roles such as senior announcer producer, assistant production manager radio, manager of the regional radio stations, and now chief executive officer acting of the National Communications Network Incorporated. She is a true all-rounder, very active on the school boards of her daughter's schools, a devout Roman Catholic worshipper, a lecturer at the University of Guyana as she continues to serve our native land. Today, we celebrate Michella Abraham Ali, a mother of 2 girls who wears many hats and thrives on the thought there is no limit to what women can accomplish.